Hi everybody, and welcome to DIYing to Craft. My name is Sabrina, and I'm so happy you're here. If you're finding my video for the first time, I hope you'll stay connected by liking and subscribing. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Help me grow here on YouTube by liking, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. Now it's time to craft. Today I'm sharing 3 spring decor items. DIY number 1 is a bunny planter box. I picked up an MDF bunny cutout, a pack of bunny feet, a box of tumbling tower blocks, and I removed the jute twine hanger and filled the holes with Gorilla brand wood filler. Using 30 of the tumbling tower blocks, I first glued together 2 sets of 5 blocks each, applying the Gorilla wood glue to the sides. I also use a clamp to hold them while the glue sets. The ruler helps me keep the blocks lined up as I glue. I then glue together 2 more sets of 5 blocks each, but this time they're glued end to end. Using 2 of the horizontally glued block sets, I'll arrange and glue in the remaining blocks to make the wall of the planter box. If you don't have wood glue, you could use super glue or hot glue, but with hot glue you might have some gaps. Maybe it's just me, but I can never squish wood pieces together hard enough to avoid the gaps from the hot glue. I think this pattern is cute, but you could arrange your blocks in a pattern that you prefer. I again used the ruler to help me keep everything in line as I glued. I also used clamps to help it stay together while drying. Once ready, I glue on the sides of the planter box. The ruler is very helpful while I attach everything. I do try to clean up any excess glue as I go because I don't want it to dry and distort the finished look. Here I'm measuring 2 paint stir sticks originally purchased in a larger pack from Home Depot. These will be the bottom of the planter box. Using a bit of painter's tape, I attached the 2 stir sticks together to make cutting them easier. I then use my coping saw to trim off the excess. If you don't have a coping saw, you could use a miter saw, some miter shears, or a box cutter, although the box cutter might take a bit more effort. I then use my little vacuum to clean up the mess. Now it's time to glue the stir sticks to the bottom. I apologize for being out of frame. I do move, so you'll have a better view in a minute. Here I'm just holding up the bunny and the feet to see how they'll look. It's so cute. Now to decorate the bunny. This is shelf liner I found at Dollar Tree. It must have been a one-off because I haven't seen it in my store since I purchased it. I'm just using my craft knife to cut everything out. You could use scissors or a rotary cutter. I recently saw that Dollar Tree is selling rotary cutters now. Has anyone tried them? Do you have a review? Let me know in the comments. I'm using a bit of painter's tape to attach the shelf liner to my surface so I can peel off the backing and lay my bunny down on it. If you prefer to apply the shelf liner differently, do what works for you. This way works for me since I'll be cutting the bunny out on the same surface. I realized I was going to have some excess shelf liner, so I opened a pack of MDF eggs, also purchased at Dollar Tree. I don't end up using them for this craft, but they're cute, so I will end up decorating with them. I then began to cut out the bunny with my craft knife. Just trace around the shape with the knife, and if your knife is sharp enough, it will provide a clean cut. If you need to sand off any spots that didn't cut well, just use a nail file or sanding block and run it in along the edge in a downward motion. Paint time. I give the entire box one coat of white paint. I also paint the bunny feet, but only the exterior part of it. I don't do the little pads. Using some pieces of the shelf liner that were trimmed off when I did the bunny, I cover the pads of the bunny feet. Using a craft knife and a nail file, I remove the excess. To be honest, the craft knife was better for this than the file, as I couldn't get a good angle to use the file on the edges, but you'll see, I still try. I love how each toe has a different design. You could also paint the pads if you'd rather not work with the shelf liner. I do end up repainting the feet as the craft knife ended up scratching the first coat. I attached the planter box to the bunny using gel superglue. I love the gel superglue and may never use regular superglue again. The bottom of the planter box has just enough of a lip that I can rest the bunny bottom on it for an easy line up. I use a couple clamps to hold it while the glue sets up. Once ready, I also use my stapler to provide some additional connection. After a little fussing to position the feet, I attach them with the same super glue. Using some styrofoam from my stash, I save it whenever I have it come in a package. I cut up some pieces to fit in the planter box. If you have floral foam, that would probably work better. I'm just using what I have on hand. I then trimmed and arranged some Dollar Tree hydrangeas and narcissus. I think that's how you say them. I think I do okay when it comes to floral arrangements, but I do envy some of you in your floral arranging talents. After I stopped filming, I decided to add a couple butterfly picks that I purchased in a pack from Amazon. If I can find it, I'll put the link in the description box. Here's the finished product. DIY number 2 is a spring chick shelf sitter. This craft uses some MDF chicks from the Dollar Tree, some spring floral napkins gifted to me by a friend, and some more shelf liner. I first fill the holes with Gorilla wood filler. I like using this tongue depressor as my scraper. These paint stir sticks will be the base of this project, so I'm gluing them together with Gorilla wood glue. I'm painting the base with Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. I'm applying the paint with a cut-up car washing sponge. I saw another crafter use a sponge like this, and I really like the way it allows the wood grain to show through the paint. So thank you to Windy City Crafts for the inspiration. I'm also painting all the chicks with an acrylic white paint. Even though this large chick is already white, it has a distressing that won't work for this craft. Now I'm applying Mod Podge to all but one of the chicks. Make sure to coat every little bit of it, including the edges. Once fully coated, let the Mod Podge dry. I just cut out this section of the napkin that I want to use, and I'll save the rest of the napkin for another project. Doing the same for this one. Using a bit of painter's tape, I separate the plies of the napkins. This first one gave me some trouble, but the second one comes right off. Arrange the napkin on the chick so that the pattern is how you like it. Use some parchment paper and an iron. Mine was set at 250. Attach the napkin to the chick by reactivating the Mod Podge with heat. I haven't noticed any wrinkles when I use this method. I do check to make sure the edges are attached well, and I'll reapply the iron wherever needed. To remove the excess napkin, use scissors and a nail file or a sanding block. Just rub the nail file along the edge of the chick in a downward motion and pull away the detached napkin pieces. Sometimes, if there are small spaces, it can take a bit more work to clean it up. I repeat the same steps for the other decoupage chicks. The only additional step I did to the large chick is remove the excess napkin from between its feet. And I just poked a hole and then stuck in the nail file. Using some shelf liner that I got from Amazon, I covered the third small chick. Just using a craft knife, I cut it out. To attach the large chick to the base, I glue a tumbling tower block, and then I glue it to the leg of the chick. I also attach another block to the other leg and to the base. Now I glue the small wooden Dollar Tree cubes to the little chicks. Using some green eyelash yarn that I got from Dollar Tree, I make some faux grass for my chicks to stand in. I just wrap it around the stir stick end to end about 6 times, and then I remove it and put it on top. I'm just attaching it with hot glue. I know the angle's not the best. It's a little obscured, but I do try to lean it against the basket there for a better view. Now I just use some super glue. I move the yarn out of the way and I attach the cube to the base so that the chick is now attached. The one on the end will give you a little better view. Now adding some styrofoam eggs, also from Dollar Tree. I remove the little hangers and hot glue them into the grass or yarn. I'm going to add a bit of purple ribbon. This is just from my stash. It's a very thin little ribbon. And I'm just attaching it with hot glue. I'm wrapping the ribbon around my fingers a few times and tying another small little piece of ribbon around it to make a little bow. My dexterity's a little off, so I struggle with the knot. And now I'm just going to decide on the placement, and once I do, I attach it with hot glue. And there's my spring chick shelf sitter. DIY number 3 is a birdhouse ornament. From the Dollar Tree, I picked up a garland that had this little bird cutout. I took the garland apart and will save that for another craft, but now I have this bird. Here I'm filling in the holes with hot glue. I just put one finger behind the hole and add the hot glue and place another finger over the hole until it sets. Make sure you're wearing your silicone finger protectors. I'll be using popsicle sticks for this ornament and want to paint them in spring colors. All of these paints are Waverly chalk paint, and the colors are lavender, maize, celery, lagoon, and ballet slipper. Using my cut up sponge, I apply the paint. I also paint 4 more popsicle sticks using the deep brown acrylic paint from Dollar Tree. Initially, I planned to use this MDF arrow, but I had some cardboard in my stash and decided to use that instead. It'll help the ornament stay super light, and I'll have the arrow for another project. Just cut out the shape with a box cutter or scissors. I line everything up using a ruler to help me keep it straight. I use hot glue to attach the popsicle sticks. I line up tongue depressors, or you could use some more popsicle sticks, and I trace out the roof line. You see here that I am using a craft knife to cut out the roof shape. Miter shears or some other cutting tool would probably work better. It took several passes to cut this thin piece of wood with my craft knife. I just keep scoring it, and then I try to bend it, and it finally snaps. I switched the craft knife for a box cutter. It wasn't much better, but maybe my blades are all super dull. I glue on the roof tiles and the ridge pieces, just with hot glue. Using the sponge again, I'm painting the bird with engine red. I do give it a few coats because I want to darken the color. I also dab some paint over the hot glue filled holes on both sides. In hindsight, I should have used the wood filler on this piece. I'm adding this heart cutout to emulate the entry of a birdhouse. Now I glue on the bird, and this ornament is ready to go on display. I found this adorable piece at a thrift store, and after cleaning it up, I added a couple bows to the kitties. I think this birdhouse ornament will be the perfect addition. It just needs a hanger, which is what this piece of pipe cleaner will become. I just give it a twist and I glue it to the back. I went a little heavy on the glue. It actually stuck to my little silicone finger. There we go. And this is the finished product. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already done so, please click the like button, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. I really do appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.